I couldn't be bothered to play, oh, I don't know, a different game. So we're just doing more Star Wars pod racing. This time, though, we are moving on from the days of Dud Bolt. Alright, we're done with Dud Bolt. We have a new favorite now. It's Mars Guo. Dud Bolt showed his true colors by working with Sebulba. Today we're going with the people's champion, Mars Guo. He's the one we all know and love. He's the one we'd all vote for. Were he to, oh, I don't know, run for Senate. If he were to, instead of race in a pod race, if he were to do a presidential race, I think we all know who we'd be voting for. And it's fucking Mars Guo. That's right. We're playing as Mars Guo. Everyone's favorite Glub Shudo. There's a lot of them. There are a lot. And I've got to say, you know, just to emphasize it, my favorite Glub Shudo is not Dudbolt. It's not Ben Quadaneros. It's not Aldar Beto. No. It's Mars Guo. Granted, he may own slaves, but you know, you have to look past that because he's the lesser of two evils. That would be his political messaging. His campaign would basically revolve around being, we know that, you know, Mr. Guo did in fact own slaves back in the day, but he's just better than Dudbolt. He's the lesser of two evils. His whole campaign is just, oh, he's not as bad as Dudbolt. That's crazy. My god. I think if he would have succeeded in his race at the Bunta Eve, we could have seen a Mars Guo run for president. You know what I mean? Like, keep in mind, alright, I recently rewatched the pod racing scene from episode 1. It's easily the best scene in a very mediocre movie. And I couldn't help but notice that up until the second lap, Mars Guo was literally in second place right behind Sebulba. Sure, he may be out of his depth here. He may have jumped the shark a little bit and dove into the Bunta Eve Classic before he was ready. He had only previously been acclimated to the, quote, minor rim leagues. You know, keeping that in mind, his prior experience, he was doing pretty well. I mean, second place? Fuck knows my ass would not be getting second place in a fucking pod race. Dude, you'd fucking die. You see that? If you've seen the track as it appears in the movie, you know this is not a track that is survivable. This is a hazardous, I mean, you're bobbing and weaving in like caves and you're like dodging obstacles and there's like Tusken Raiders shooting at you and shit. Like, this is not the kind of thing you survive, and yet Mars Guo, second place right behind Sebulba, who of course was the number one, he was the favorite to win. And he was also being helped, might I say, by class traitor Dudbolt. So Mars, you know, the fact that Mr. Guo was progressed as far in the race as he did, I think he's got spirit, he's got skill, and he's won the hearts of the people. He's very charismatic. I think he could have done it. I think, you know, if we could get this guy, we need to get this guy some policies, you know what I mean? And he could do it. He could win the presidency, beat Dudbolt, the incumbent Dudbolt, who may be running for a third term. Just a coincidence. Just a coincidence that Dudbolt is also potentially running for a third term. He's not officially running for a third term, but he's floated the idea. But I think Mars Guo has what it takes to overthrow his presidency. We need to get him some policies. I don't know. This doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would have good policies necessarily. But he could, you know, policies are really secondary to pure charisma, and you know, I think he's got charisma in spades. Know what I mean? That is a very strange saying. In spades. What the fuck does that... In spades. Tuesday trivia. Origin of the idiom in spades. To have something in spades means to have it in abundance or to a large degree. The idiom wasn't used prior to the 1920s, so it is said to be derived from the card game Bridge, which was popular during that time. Spades were the highest ranking suit, so the more spades you had, the more likely you were to win. You learn something new every day. In spades. So there we go. So that's my proposal. That's how we fix this country. So I just got back from a long, hard day at work, at the job factory, making jobs. And I had an interesting experience that I would like to share with all of you. And basically, the whole story revolves around this one strange encounter I had with a fellow worker. Not a co-worker necessarily, but just a fellow worker, another wagey. My trade, my line of work, my career is that I am a carpet cleaner. And a consequence of this is that I sometimes find myself in the home of a customer. And sometimes, you know, every so often, I get to a job and I'm not the only one doing something there. You know, I might get to a property and, you know, they're having their plumbing done. Or they're doing some house cleaning. The customer I went to today was selling their house. And we're having the finishing touches done to make it look as sellable, as submissive and breedable as possible, if you will. As breedable, the house needed to look very submissive and breedable. And so they were just having a few people come by and put the finishing touches on it to make sure it looks spick and span for any potential buyers. I begin to set up for the carpet cleaning. And I've already noticed that there's someone else. There's someone else here. I'm not alone on this property. There's another proletariat in the area. A painter. And I don't mean to be judgmental, but there's something about painters. There's something about them. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the paint fumes. You know what I mean? Maybe it's like, oh, they're constantly smelling in the paint fumes. And I think it makes them go a little crazy. Because, you know, maybe this is just me. I mean, maybe I'm not the only one. Maybe I am. But it seems like every notable encounter I've ever had with a painter involves them being a little strange. A little odd, if you will. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you want to be a silly little guy, more power to you. I have nothing against silly little guys working on jobs. Why would I have a problem with that? I'm a silly little guy working on a job. But, you know, just take my word for it. Painters are unusually silly. Unusually silly. And this painter is no exception. The first little warning sign, little red flag that something was amiss with this painter was that I noticed along the entire outside of the building he was stalking. I don't know how else to put it. He was like a predator. He was hunched over. In his right hand he's holding a paint roller, very intently looking at the side of the building. He was moving along, he was stalking the outside of the building, looking for holes in the paints that he may have missed. Now, I don't know if you people know anything about cleaning carpets, but it does require the use of water. And the water hookup is on the side of the house, and the painter has made his mark on the area. The whole area has been painted over. And I was wondering, is this going to be a problem? You know, if I hook up my water here and turn on the water, you know, sometimes it leaks and it might ruin his paint. And so, you know, innocently enough, I thought, oh, I'll just ask him about it. So I go up to him and I, you know, say hey or hi. I don't remember exactly. I said hey or hi. One of the two. I don't remember exactly. Bro goes, oh, how you doing? And so I was a little taken aback by that. This guy was like, to put it in perspective, this guy was like, you know, 50, somewhere between late 40s, early 50s. Like, he looked like he could have been my dad. And he was quite a big guy. I was expecting him to have more of a deep voice, I guess. I mean, it's nothing wrong with having a not deep voice. What the fuck is the opposite of a deep voice? A shallow voice? Anyhow, I was taken aback by that, so I say, oh yeah, I'm doing good. And he goes, oh, yeah, nice, great. And so I ask him, I inquire, you know, how recently did you paint the area around the spigots? Because I kind of need access to it. So we go over there, and he's like, oh no, it's probably fine. And so I say, oh, okay, great. Well, I'll go ahead and hook it up then. And he goes, Alright. I shit you not, he literally did like a little giggle. Alright? Now let me just say, I have nothing against little giggles, alright? I have no problem with quirky little giggles. I just wasn't expecting it, and I had to... You know, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm being a little too judgmental here. Maybe I should have offered a reciprocal chuckle. Maybe I'm a mood killer. Maybe I'm the one who doesn't know how to have fun and be a silly, quirky little guy. After that, we walked back over to where our vans were parked. And, you know, the wind's blowing pretty crazy. The guy goes, pretty windy, isn't it? And I say, oh, yeah. It's pretty crazy. I'm getting sick of it, you know? And he goes, yeah, me too. And I was very put off by that. Maybe this is not the most interesting story in the entire world, but I was just very perplexed. I was befuddled, if you will, as to his responses. They did not seem normal. Painters are not normal. But you know what? We like that, don't we? We like that about painters. We like that they're not normal. If everyone was normal, life would be very boring and there would be not much to talk about. So, you know, we like painters and we like that they're not normal. Really, consider this segment to be a sort of homage to painters of the world. Of all the trades, of all the groups of workers that show up to customers' houses and perform services, you are the blessed among us. You are the quirkiest and silliest of all tradespeople. And so for that, we salute you. So last episode I mentioned the upcoming Galactic Racer video game and how I'm probably not gonna end up buying it because frankly it's just too expensive. I'm a grown man, you know, I've got bills to pay, rent to pay, you know, we're heading for a recession. I can't be spending $60, $70 on new video games anymore. I mean, I will do it if it is big enough of a game to warrant it. You know what I mean? Like, my general rule is basically, for every dollar I spend on the game, I want to get an hour of gameplay out of it. That's my general rule. So that means if I spend $60 on a game, I want to be able to get 60 hours out of it. That's just for me, that's just my little personal rule. If I buy a $60 game and I'm not going to spend 60 hours playing it, well then I'm not going to buy it. And so, you know, am I really going to spend 60 hours playing Galactic Racer? You know, I can't really say for sure. I don't think so. You know what I mean? I can't really say for sure one way or the other. I spent well over 60 hours on Baldur's Gate 3. I bought that at full price. I bought Elden Ring at full price, and I've made my money back on that. And in the last 3-4 years, I believe those are the only 2 full price games I've actually purchased. But there is another one coming out very shortly. The new Tomodachi Life Livin' the Dream for Nintendo Switch. Now, I played the 3DS version of this. I did play it back in the day, and it was fun. It's good fun. It's kind of like The Sims-ish. Very, like, casual, like, you're kind of more watching the game happen than you are really playing it. It's nothing, you know, it's not very deep. It's nothing too, you know, interesting or enthralling, but it's just a quirky little fun, enjoyable game. And I'm pretty sure I bought that for, what, $30? I would buy the new Tomodachi Life if it was going to be $30. That's basically what I'm trying to say. But no, $60 for this really bare bones looking game. It's so, like, you know, nothing against it. It looks fun. I literally want to play it. But I cannot justify. Am I going to put 60 hours into the new Tomodachi Life? Is there enough content there for 60 hours of entertainment? You know, I can't really say that. I see these clips on Twitter of people's characters that they've made. And of course right now there's no chat filter, so there's a lot of really funny clips of people's me's saying profane, abhorrent things. Insert clips here.
If someone told you, Astral, I'm going to go voring, would you join them?
Absolutely. I love voring. I can't stop thinking about it, day and night. I really am totally obsessed with boring.
Do you feel like talking about the Epstein files?
I'm sure that once the game fully releases, they will reintroduce the chat filter. I'm sure of that. But in the meantime, people are enjoying no chat filter. I've got to say, it actually irks me. It pisses me the freak off, if you will, to see the sheer level, the sheer scale of customization that you can actually do in the new Miitopia. Let me tell you, back in my day, Miis were the most bland, generic, like nothing characters ever. They were so restrictive on what you could do with customization. And I'm seeing people make these insane custom Miis in this game, and it irks me, bro. You people don't even know what you have. You have no idea how lucky you are to have such insane customization features. It irks me in a very, like, boomer way. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I had to struggle through the shitty customization options. Why do all these new whippersnappers get to have all these exciting new features for customization? It's not fucking fair. It's bullshit. I'm in love with this GIF that someone made. I'll insert the GIF into the video. But basically the video just has Pomni, Jax, and Ragatha from The Amazing Digital Circus just standing there, minding their own business. Pomni just decides to start dancing for literally no goddamn reason at all. It is fucking so hilarious. It's actually so pure. She looks so sad. She has a frown on her face. She looks so sad, but she's doing such a whimsical, happy little dance. That juxtaposition really does it for me. At the time of recording, The Amazing Digital Circus has just released its 8th episode. We've yet to see the apparent final episode, and I've got to say this show has really surprised me. I'm not going to spoil anything, alright? Listen, let me just say, I was not interested in the show at all. It looked like Has-Been Hotel, you know what I mean? Like, it looked like teenage girl show, like edgy teenage girl show. I figured, okay, this is not for me. This looks really dumb. This is gonna be very cringe. Let me tell you, this is not Has-Been Hotel. This is actually a really good show. I've enjoyed it a lot. I've loved every episode, actually. But I have been seeing, you know, speaking of Twitter, I've been seeing a lot of bad takes on The Amazing Digital Circus. Lots of bad takes. You love to see them because it's just a little reminder that Twitter is occupied almost exclusively by 14-year-olds. And that's fine, I guess that's the target demographic, but Twitter is not an adult space. This is a teenager space, and we adults are intruding on the teenager space. This is largely, okay, you know, keep in mind, largely bots, right? A lot of bots, but second most common demographic after bots is 14-year-olds. It's people who have no business making hot takes on their public accounts. They're not ready. You know what I mean? If you are 14 years old and you're listening to this, please do not post your hot takes on Twitter. You're not old enough. I'm sorry. You do not have the life experience to be posting hot takes on Twitter. I'm sorry. You really should be 18. I'm not in favor of making people sign up with their IDs, you know what I mean? I'm not in favor of the age verification thing. I'm just saying, code of conduct, please, I beg of you, if you're 14, do not make hot takes on Twitter. But anyway, I see these hot takes about the show, specifically around whether or not it's for kids. And there seem to only be two major factions. There's the people who say, oh no, it is a kids show, and there's the people who say, no, it's for adults. It's only for adults. Guys, are you serious? This is a teenager show. This is so clearly a teenager show. It has elements of a kids show and elements of an adult show. It's meant to appeal to a slightly younger demographic, but who are old enough to have the emotional maturity to comprehend its more nuanced themes. Very simple. It's very simple to understand. I don't know why these people seem to think it can only be a kids show or an adult show. And these are not the only bad takes I've seen. There's many bad takes to be seen on Twitter, but I'm not going to waste my time with them too much because at the end of the day, you're not on Twitter to see bad takes. You're on Twitter to see schizos and pornography and art. You know what I mean? And news, I guess. But there's nothing new happening. There's nothing in the news, really. I mean, nobody's really looking at the news these days. There's not really anything going on, is there? No, there's nothing. Well, yeah, let's see. What news is trending on Twitter right now? Donald Trump announces plan to steal the Chaos Emeralds. We're calling it Operation Chaos Control, says Trump in an interview. Well, you know, this is, if you think about it, it's actually pretty brilliant because if Donald Trump had the 7 Chaos Emeralds, he could turn into Super Donald Trump. And then, I mean, think of all the things he could accomplish then. He could move at the speed of light. Does supersonic move at the speed of light? Supersonic speed. No, not supersonic speed. Nobody gives a shit about supersonic speed. I want the speed of supersonic. Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't care about supersonic speed. I want supersonic speed. We are dropping the fuck shit up bomb. We're going to drop the fuck shit up bomb. Ecuador. Level it to the ground. Speed of light. Okay, approaching the speed of light. Listen, this is worth it because think about this. Think about how much Donald Trump could accomplish in his presidency. If he could run at approaching the speed of light, you think we'd be losing the war with Iran, moving around at 671 million miles per hour? You think again. Think again. We wouldn't be losing any war with Iran, alright? Wow, that was really shit. Anyway, you just got done listening to the second episode of RainbowFruit Radio. And I know you're done listening to my voice, because I sure fucking am after having to edit that whole thing together. So, I will leave you now. Today's gameplay was Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Next episode will probably be something different. Hopefully it won't just be more of the same. We will be playing multiple games on this show. So, thank you again for watching, and stay tuned for future episodes. Bye-bye.